Well, hello, folks. As you can see, I have Aristo with me again, and the title for this video, which we don't always have when we record together, is Creating Redeeming Reality, Self-Empowerment. Aristo, go ahead.
Hello, Ron. Hello, Ron, and hello, everyone. Yes, I'm the one who likes the sound of my own voice, and that's why I'm here, because I have no other opportunity to hear myself except here. There have been a few critiques in the past few videos, and I'm going to try to address these critiques. Now, the sound of my own voice and all that crap, and the diarrhea, and speaking like that, crapping out of my mouth, basically, these are just general things. I mean, somebody likes a feel-good, New Age presentation, that's fine. But then there's another criticism that says basically I never clarify what I want to say. I'm hiding something. I know more than I say. Why don't I just come out and say it? So I'm going to try very hard to do that, to come out and say it, to be succinct. So I'm going to try to be simpler, more succinct, and more basic. Now, as you can see, this is a long title. And I had a different title. I just said, I want this to be about self-empowerment. That's my message, self-empowerment. I don't talk about aliens. I don't talk, well, everything is in the context. Yes, I do sometimes. But aliens, politics, the matrix, mind control, all of these are the context of a situation where my message, my thoughts, what I believe in, the constructive thing I want to share with people is self-empowerment as I understand it. Redeeming, creating reality, that was essentially based on a comment, and it's going to be the blurb. I made a comment on either on YouTube or on the Facebook page. I don't remember which. And
YouTube.
Yeah, and basically to, answer some things of, look, next time we're going to address this and this issue. In the last month's video, I spoke about creating reality. It's not an easy issue, and I also, in an attempt to detract other criticisms that I just talk off the top of my head, I wanted to compare with things other people thought about this, okay? So you end up trying to satisfy some kind of criticism, another criticism pops up. It's like a wrinkle in the carpet, you press your hand on it, another wrinkle pops up. So you can't satisfy everybody, and that's fine. That's not my point. I listen to criticisms for one reason, because they are the feedback that may help me clarify something that isn't clear. And I do admit that some days are better than others when making these videos. Sometimes it's like, okay, we have a video now. Can you make a video? Well, I'm not really, okay, I can squeeze it in maybe. Okay, oh, well, we have to do it today. There's no other time to do it, or, can we make a video today, tomorrow, when? Okay, let's just do it. So it's done, and it's not a planned thing. This video isn't really a planned thing, but these days we agreed with Ron to do one video a month, and instead of 2 or 3. And one video a month actually does give me time to ponder something, and there's 50,000 things that could be said, and eventually over the course of a month, one topic does ferment when I look at Ron's videos, usually because it's his topics and the comments on his videos that come together, and I could talk about a lot of things, but they'd be neither here nor there. Apparently, from some of the comments, it still appears that for most people, it's neither here nor there. Not that we have that much of an audience, but it doesn't matter. Even if there's one person listening, I do have a pet peeve of, confusing people, not being clear. That bothers me. I used to lecture, professionally, not professionally, but in classroom context, so I may sound like a teacher or a professor or somebody who's on this high horse, because that is how I was trained. It's how it worked for me. So don't take it personally, please. Lecturing is how I talk in front of a camera or in front of, in a formal manner. At the same time, I ramble because this isn't a classroom. So there's a conflicting thing. And now I'm making excuses for myself because, like most people, being misunderstood is not knowing that you're misunderstood when you desire to communicate something does create cognitive dissonance. So let me move on. What I want to talk about, what I talked about in the last video was creating your own reality, the New Age view about that. And connecting with that is the idea of healing and redeeming the reality. Now, there are many thoughts, many things here, many ideas about reality on this channel. And, apparently through my own newsfeed, all of a sudden there's so many ideas on my newsfeed that do not represent me. I wrote that on my Facebook page. And, why is this newsfeed still here? Who cares? It's Facebook. That's my basic idea here. It doesn't really matter to me. And sometimes it's entertaining. Sometimes it's interesting. And a few people do represent or reflect what I consider worth reading or worth considering. In this case, however, creating reality, redeeming reality is inseparable from healing yourself, empowering yourself, and redeeming your own condition on earth. So I am not about somebody who's going to give you solutions to make your external life better in an objective, managing fashion. We live in a reality where we are being managed. Call it slavery. Although we don't have collars in the physical sense, most of us, we are being managed. Our lives are being managed. Our time is a commodity when it shouldn't be. It's one thing. We live in a world that is completely put on a grid and managed. And whoever wants to get out of it these days, you can't just go in a cabin and live by yourself. It's not as easy. Maybe some can still, but eventually that's going to be weeded out. And it's going to be illegal, and the drones are going to get you, or the beams are going to get you, or something's going to get you. So we live in a time when we need to take things into account because they are in our face. Now, I'm not going to say, do you have proof about this? Well, forget it. That's if you don't really want to get beyond that level of proof, if you think you need proof about that, if you're somebody who puts it in some conspiracy theory realm instead of the realm of historical present-day fact in terms of ongoing history, the present is history that is ongoing. So it is not on the record. It is going on now. So this isn't about proving or disproving. It's about people who have established a certain set of perceptions of saying, okay, this is how the world is. I've had a lot of time to figure at least this much. I've made my decisions over the course of years or whatever. So I know we live in a managed society. Society is not just the system. There is a minority of individuals on this planet who are managing everybody else, the resources of the planet, and they have their own agenda. And it is not in our best interest. So what can we do? In my honest opinion, so I'm laying it out simply. You cannot beat the system, okay? You blaming anybody else, blaming this, blaming the extraterrestrials, wanting somebody to save you is not going to help you. If it helps you, fine. But sitting around talking about it, analyzing, spending your time and energy about it is pointless. If it's going to help you, it's going to help you. If there's a savior, they're going to help you no matter what you say or what you do. So it's not about preparing to be saved. It's about, and it's not about, oh, if I can't feel good, I'm going to kill myself. You might as well be a child holding your breath until it turns blue, threatening your parent that you're going to die. Who cares? That's the thing that I hear in American YouTube channels, usually by conservatives. You have the liberals. Now, and I hate these labels, but I'm going to use them anyways because they're convenient. The so-called liberals who, because that's what happened to my newsfeed. It's turned into liberals and conservatives. And so the liberals, again, they go around accusing everybody. You did this, and you're all this, and you're all that. So we must, and then they talk about love at the end of the sentence. The conservatives, are all about, we don't care, bitches. We don't care. Nobody cares. Reality doesn't care. It's not about your feelings. It's about, you know. So both of them are very, very hard-edged. And so even those people who profess feelings and emotions are hard-edged. So the only thing that seems to be a little softer is some kind of contrived, sugar-coated, backpatting, almost like afraid to offend, you know. So again, that's not real compassion. That's not real empathy, for me at least. That's just fear of being accused of being an asshole or being bullied because you're hard-edged, because you're, you know. So all of this, and according to what I was saying in previous videos, is bullshit. It's a psy-op. It's part of the management system. Behavior is being controlled. How is behavior controlled? You think they just press a button and you, No. Behavior is controlled in a way that makes it seem natural. And of course, when it seems natural, you have an explanation for it. Your logic is aligned with it. This is why I am not pro-logic. Men are logical. No, they're not. You know, otherwise the world would be a very square place, and it's not. It's very chaotic. It's not because of just women. It's because of everybody. And women are not just emotional. You know, you have women prime ministers who just don't go into emotional tantrums, and you have men politicians who do go into tantrums and flip out or whatever, say stupid things, you know. But the point is that in this rant, what I am trying to say is that logic and emotion need to work together. Okay, that is part of self-empowerment. Your logic can easily be fooled. It's based on premises. If you are convinced that the earth is flat because you don't have evidence that it's not flat, except for, you know, or you don't know or aren't aware or aren't informed enough or whatever about it, then your logic is going to come up with all these reasons that have nothing to do with emotion of why the earth is flat or the earth is an illusion. What do you mean an illusion? So you are an illusion. You see, people convinced that they're illusions, that's the definition of crazy. Okay, so if you're convinced you're not real, I mean, it's one thing to believe your reality isn't real, but if you're not real, then you are crazy, which means that, and if you have become that way, you have been gaslighted. You have been convinced that you are crazy, even though you deny the fact. See, it's just a mess. It's a mess, okay? So I'm not hiding anything. I'm just saying that if you want to come to a position of navigating this crisis, see, I don't feel or believe, logically speaking, or even in accordance to my feelings, that there is a way to make everything right in any manner that has anything to do with us staying the way we are. We have to change. And that does not mean somebody else changing us, okay? This is the war. The war is for our beingness. Who are we? What are we? It's not just freedom. It's beingness. So is your identity your own, or is it owned? Are you a commodity now? And if you are a commodity, and many people say, you know, the whole alternative, whatever, that we are commodities, we have become so. We are corporations or under corporations, corpses, basically. We're slaves, we're puppets. It's just another way of saying you're a slave, okay? So somebody telling you you're a commodity is lying to you, because in reality, you know, that's just somebody wanting to enslave you. So if they force you to do something, and even if you're a slave, as long as you're your own being, even if outwardly you're a slave, at some point the slavery will end, because everybody makes mistakes, even the system. Things happen, things degrade, things change. So the system right now believes, it's been so hypnotized by technology and the promises of technology, they believe that they can use technology to do away with any kind of transitions and changes and entropic dynamics that will make the wheel turn so the slaves become liberated. Because at this point, if the slaves become liberated, it will be the last time, okay? If the slaves overcome the masters, if the mega cycle of history where we are enslaved by the gods and all of this crap. And again, let me be straight with you. I don't believe in the gods, okay? The Anunnakis and all that stuff. I don't believe in extraterrestrials, evil or otherwise, as physical beings. I believe they are part of the universal ecosystem, just like animals and plants are on our planet. And maybe fairy beings and elementals or whatever you might want to call them, non-corporeal existence. Yes. But I do not believe in these mythologies of gods coming to earth. You know, I believe they have some truth in them. And again, no proof, forget about that. You know, take a stand on your own belief system and look into your belief system. And if there is truth in it, which there might be, you have to see, or I suggest you see, where the system has manipulated that belief system to serve its own ends. For example, there's this thing called Project Bluebeam, where they've sprayed so much crap into the air that they can actually project very real-looking holograms into the atmosphere. So, you know, this Earth is an illusion, it's flat, it's this, is that. That's like psychological preparation to be able to take these holograms, the whole disclosure thing. Oh, the ETs are coming. They're working with the government. They're working with the shadow government. Why would they? You know, look at this. You have Christianity, for example, whether you believe it or not. This Jesus guy comes into a little tiny area in a gigantic Roman Empire. He didn't show up in Rome. You know, it didn't start from in China somewhere. It didn't start in a major empire, you know. This character that comes and starts this big-ass religion went into one of the most humble and maybe desolate places on earth. So with a bunch of, you know, revolutionary shepherds and stuff. So why would these so-called highly advanced extraterrestrials work with messed up governments? You know, work with pedophiles, work with all of these whatevers, unless they're all, you know, warped as well, and that may be so. But of course, you got to know that if somebody wants to enslave you, they're going to do two things. First, they're going to stretch out the opium to make you, you know, not be vigilant, for example, to make you relax in a false manner, to accentuate your fears, your tendency to deny your fears because you just want to feel good. You're addicted to that. And it's not real good feeling. Real well-being is empowering. It doesn't have you sit on a couch pointing fingers at people far away in the name of social justice or whatever. So, or they're going to terrorize you, you know. Opium and terrorism do the same thing. They disempower you. So this isn't about that. There are no hidden agendas, you know, as far as this information is. Yes, maybe I ramble on a bit. And again, this isn't really about me. It's about the information. And the information is about empowering yourself, okay? If you want to create your own reality, you cannot do that without being empowered to do so. Now, how do you do that? Okay, well, you said all of this stuff. How do we do that? It ain't going to happen in a way that's endorsed by the system, okay? It isn't going to happen in a way where somebody is a celebrity and popular, and so let's follow this celebrity and they will empower us or teach us how to be empowered. It ain't going to happen with a product that's sold on the goddamn market. All of this is part of the system. So maybe there are truths. That doesn't mean you shouldn't examine that, because sometimes the system is uncreative. The system, you know, and psychopaths can't really create shit. What they do is they have to parasitically, you know, grab this, grab that, and just build on it, and then lie about it. You know, they look at you and they see what your responses are. Oh, this makes the person smile. This makes them, you know, they can't feel. Okay, their logic is based on pure observation. The only thing they can feel is negative stuff. So, and thus, the analysis of our own emotional makeup is based on that. It's based on a psychopathic authoritarian system that funds all of the intellectual institutions and everything that we hold as the edifice of truth in our society. So what do? You have to develop your own intuition, okay? Now, yoga, meditation, all of this are traditions, and they are promoted, but there's a lot of watering down. At the same time, the system allows real information to come through because there's so much disinformation that most people are going to miss the boat, you know. So the thing is, you are being confused. So one of the things that helps you is to ask who benefits. Whenever something happens and oh, this is the way it is, who benefits? Who benefits from the flat earth? Back in the, I mean, they're telling you NASA has convinced us that the earth is, you know, round when it's really flat. Why would they do that? Oh, because it's the truth. See, that's like a contrived, stupid psy-op where, oh, you know, oh, that's it. You know, I just do alternative things because somebody out there wants to not let me know the truth because it's the truth. And the truth will set me free. That's a cliche. That's childish. The Pope in the past and the royals did not want people to know that the earth was a closed a sphere because then you would just leave Europe. People would just go on boats just like they do in Syria and war-torn countries because Europe was war-torn. It was plague-torn, war-torn, poverty-torn. People were being burned out the wazoo. Anybody who had a healing herb or within arm's distance was tortured and killed. People were fingering each other, torturing and killing, you know, betraying each other to the authorities. So, you know, oh, there's a new world over there. You know, you can just go on a boat and just well, I'd rather trust in God to take me to the new world than sit in this shithole called Europe in the Middle Ages or the Renaissance or whatever. They wanted people to make babies so they can use them in warfare and all kinds of things. So they had a reason to burn people who thought the earth was round. They didn't do it for their own good. All of a sudden, things are asked backward. Now they're lying to people because they don't want them to know the earth is flat. Or it's an illusion. What do you mean an illusion? It's an experience, like you say. The word hologram has been completely misrepresented. Hologram does not mean illusion. A hologram made of lasers is a light construct, so it's not materially real. On a quantum level, however, atoms, subatomic particles are vibrations. They're particles, they're waves, whatever, however you want to understand it. But intersecting waves create a pattern that is like a hologram, okay? Three-dimensional wave constructs. And these are in a medium. And we're made of this medium, and the world is made of this medium. So just because the ocean is fluid and doesn't have a solid form unless it freezes, or unless you put it in a container and it takes the shape of its container, doesn't mean it's an illusion. Water is substantial. Energy is substantial. We're energy. Energy means motion, a medium that's vibrating. There's still something there, okay? And we are conscious. We are aware. That's there as well. So the thing is, you have to go down to basics if you want to slip through the cracks. That's what's going to happen. If you want to move through this crisis, because this system only exists when you feed it. And because the system lacks creativity, it is not going to survive as it wants to. And it knows that. It knows that we have to dumb down human awareness now because they've allowed humans to be educated, to be informed to the degree that they can make more weapons and more technology and more, you know, they've taken our creativity for their own ends, basically. And now they said, well, we better stop it because they're getting too creative. They're going to find solutions. They're going to, you know, find ways to deal with us. And they're starting to do so already. So they're on the limit of shutting us down. They're turning on the 5G this month. It doesn't mean it's going to kill us all because then they kill themselves. They're going to probably do it locally. They're probably going to experiment to see where the limit is. And then they're going to amp up the 5G to the populations they don't like And so how do I deal with this? Your life will orient. The structures of the events, the way things go in your life will orient according to your awareness, according to your intuitive understanding. Opportunities will rise and you will see them. But you need to stand on your own 2 feet psychically, psychologically. I can't isn't going to work. Slipping through the cracks is the way to do it. There is a reason for all of this in the sense that the system as it is unsustainable, okay? The earth can take a lot, but a lot of things are unsustainable. Pollution is unsustainable. Nobody talks about that because it's done by the corporations and the royals and whoever has the resources is polluting the planet, not the little guy. Digestive gases, farting does not pollute the planet. That's bullshit. Wars pollute the planet. The amount of smoke that comes out of a war zone, not to mention the chemicals and all kind of other who knows what, and the poisons, is unprecedented. It's like a volcanic eruption for years and years and years in certain parts. And the amount of pain and agony that's constantly perpetuated. Now we know these things, okay? So there are no secrets. The secrets are within you. That's not a cliche. It's just marginalized and twisted and laughed at and bullied, Go back a few years. Go back to before 2012. Remember who you were then, where there was still hope and still a few things, and people were a little more organized in their heads about being sure how fucked up things are and, how that there is real hope. There is real hope because of human nature, not because of some savior who's going to come from the skies. Those are mythologies. They did the same thing with Christianity in the Roman Empire. That's how it became a religion. They took a bunch of crap from all the existing religions and slapped it all together on the historical, because I do believe Jesus was a historical person, and slapped it on there in order for people to swallow it hook, line, and sinker. And of course, people swallowed it because the ones who really became Christians were the slaves. You had 80% of everything was slaves. All the 80% of the population was slaves. Okay, 90%, who knows? It just kept growing and growing. The more the Roman Empire expanded, the more slaves they were. So in the end, the slaves they're gonna topple us, not the incoming invaders. It's the slaves who are gonna do it. Maybe in cahoots with the invaders, who knows? But they needed to change to keep themselves in power. So they switched. They went to the ancient Pisces, where everything was religious. Now they're going to the Aquarius, where they control the information. See, they contrive these things. I do believe in the astronomical fact of precession of the equinoxes, and I am an advocate of astrological influences. However, a lot of this stuff and its interpretation is influenced by the system itself that manages information and has been managing information. So you want to slip through the cracks right now, not create a completely new reality. You don't want to look for some end game of paradise at this point. You want to understand what's going on. It's a process. So it's not easy, and it's going to get harder, but it's not going to get too hard for most of us. It's going to try. And remember, before an event can turn south, it has to be prepared. It has to be conditioned. The populations have to become afraid. They have to be pushed in denial. Remember, the system is doing a lot of things in a roundabout way, back and forth, when it would probably prefer to do it more directly and get it over and done with. Nobody's getting any younger. And believe me, immortality, as much as they think they have it or want it, they might say, well, we'll clone you and stick your brain in a clone. Well, is that really going to work for you? I really don't think so. So, in order to conclude, this is a topic that can go on and on and on. I just wanted to explain 5 things, I'd say, generally speaking. Self-empowerment, reality creation, which means basically reality management. Take back the managing dynamics of your reality from the system. It cannot happen in an absolute way. Remember, the system is too big to really keep tabs on you. And you are too big on the inside for the system itself or the psychopaths that run it to understand you. You are far more deep. You are far deeper than you think. So that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to say that you have the solutions within you. And if you really, really focus on opening up to it without whining and crying and self-criticism or criticizing others in a non-constructive way, wasting your energy on bullshit, because bullshit that seems real, is what is inundating us. The system is doing great efforts to keep us mired in bullshit. And if you think this is bullshit, fine. That's great, keep going. But I want to express this. It's in my nature to do so. Maybe I talk too much, maybe not, but I just want to express this. I've been involved in metaphysical studies and pursuits for over 3 decades, and it has helped me. Not just because of some psychological make me a better person type thing, but it has literally saved my being from a situation of chaotic enslavement to the system on the inside. Forget the external life. It's an ongoing dynamic. But right now, I have a sense of purpose, a sense of not hope so much in the hopium way, but a sense of meaning that I feel that's tangible. So I don't need religion. I don't need some underlying philosophy. I don't need the system to validate me. And, I don't need logical arguments to tell me I'm right or wrong. Maybe that makes me single-minded and egotistical or selfish, but I don't think so. I feel very well on the inside, and it's not about me. But even though empowerment is not an absolute state, I am empowered, that's the superhero myth. It is a process. It is a process of being authentic, okay? That's the one thing. Ron's title, my name is really long, and Ron's title has only so much space. So the one thing that I didn't get a chance to tack onto the title with all of that string type stuff is being authentic. Okay, find out what that means. If you can explore that, then you have understood what I'm talking about. Thank you and namaste. And thank you for your patience, all of you who have, been able to attend thus far.
Thank you, Aristo.